What is up, guys? Thank you all for checking out this edition of our Falcon and Winter Soldier episode recap. Today we're going to be talking about episode 4, The World is Watching, and boy, did this episode end on a very disturbing note. It picked up right where we left off with the Dora Milaje and Io's conversation with Bucky, and us getting a little bit of a backstory of just his journey when he was in Wakanda, which I thought was a really a neat thing. And we got definitely a little bit of that character development that we've been looking for from Carly and the Flag Smasher. So I don't know what you guys think, but I thought this set itself up to be one of the definite spotlight episodes of this series so far. I thought it was pretty fantastic. Shamari and Kendall joined me today. Sham, what were your initial thoughts on this episode?
I thought it was a solid episode. I definitely think it's an improvement on what we've gotten so far. I like EJ said, you said, EJ. We got some more exposition on the Flag Smashers. We got some more action. We're getting deeper into the U.S. agent storyline.
Who's U.S. agent?
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, technically he's not U.S. agent yet, but I think he will be after this. After the U.S. government gets the 4K footage of the last scene of that episode, because everybody got a great shot.
They got the iPhone 12 and they record on the latest Samsung.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got the high def 4K image. Boy, I mean this was a crazy episode. This was a pretty crazy episode, a crazy ending, and I just can't wait. I just can't wait for the next one.
Kendall, what was your initial thoughts on this episode?
Yeah, I echo your guys' sentiments. I thought this was a really good episode. We got more interactions between Bucky, Sam, and Zemo, which is cool to see. We got some interactions with John Walker and Lamar Hoskins with Zemo and more of them with Bucky and Sam, which was cool. Like you mentioned, we got to get more into the mind of Carly Morgenthau, and we're definitely starting to see that we got a little bit last week with the bombing of the place, of the depot, the GRC depot, but now we're starting to see her really turn into that villain character that we kind of were wondering whether or not that's the route they were going. But that they're going full tilt now. So yeah, this should be exciting. We still have it left it open. Who's the power broker? Is the power broker somebody we should be paying attention to, or is it a red herring? And they're not the main villain, or is it going to be somebody major? That's something that remains to be seen. But we'll get to all that in this review.
Yeah, and with the show once again establishing that episode 5, the next one is supposed to have a major appearance by someone in the show. You feel is the way this episode set it up. It almost feels like
that's the power broker.
That appearance may end up being the power broker. So
it's lining up. Yeah.
Yeah. And just I don't want to get too much into it. I know we got a lot to talk about in the episode, but I already saw one of the producers is not saying that it is not T'Challa.
Oh, really?
They're saying that they would not. He said that they would not tease something like that, considering all that happened with Chadwick and things like that. Like,
that makes sense.
They wouldn't tease, stay so you can watch the Black Panther next week. Like they said they wouldn't do that, which I makes sense. That would be kind of corny.
Yeah.
So, I mean, could he be lying? I don't think so. I think that he made a great point as to why.
He wouldn't lie.
Yeah, he made a great case why it's not T'Challa. So if he turned around and it was, there'd be a lot of questions for me to ask. But so that if there is a name that someone was wondering about who we may see, that apparently is a name that's crossed off as a potential person. So we'll get to more about the Power Broker in next week's episode in a minute. I do want to just start off where we left off, which was Io from the Dora Milaje pulling up on Bucky, basically saying, how could you do this after all we've done for you? And we get that great scene, that flashback scene of Bucky, going through what appears to be probably his last test, his last mental test through all the work he's done. And we see Io kind of, in that scene 6 years ago, using those words to try to see if she can get him to go back to being the Hydra Winter Soldier that that we saw Zemo bring out of him. We saw Hydra bring out of him in Captain America Winter Soldier. And he fights it off, and Io declares that he's free. And it's a really touching scene. I think it's I think it might be, one of Sebastian Stan's best scenes in the MCU. I know he doesn't talk much, but just the emotion and the feeling, I felt that scene in my soul. Like it was really well acted, really well shot. Everything about it was really well done, and they kind of used that very emotional moment to bring us here. Where you see these two, clearly they were close, and clearly they were great allies in Wakanda, and now you see them at odds, and Io feeling the sense of betrayal that they have. They sprung Zemo, and that they're using him, and she makes it very clear that they don't plan to let him be out for long. That he basically gives them 8 hours to do what they have to do with Zemo before they take him in. So I want to get you guys initial thoughts on just like where we took last week's appearance from Io, which we were kind of uncertain whether it would be a cameo, whether it would be something that was going to be profound. And we saw this episode, and we'll talk more about Dora Milaje. It was not just a cameo and they're gone. They were heavy in this episode.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to, I keep mentioning how, Nate Moore was one of the primary producers on Black Panther, and he's one of the executive producers on this one as well. And them going to Wakanda, definitely was not something I expected coming into the series. I didn't expect any scenes of Wakanda, but I mean, I thought the inclusion of Dora Milaje was handled extremely well. And that's part of the reason why. I think when you have somebody that worked on Black Panther so closely with Ryan Coogler, that you weren't gonna get something where you're like, it's Dora Milaje, but it feels different.
Yeah, this wasn't inauthentic in any way.
It wasn't inauthentic to what we saw or what we've seen from them in the multiple different properties that they've been in. So, I mean, I thought that first scene was really good. I thought their entire inclusion, obviously, this episode was really well done. And then, I mean, that flashback, I agree, Sebastian Stan did an excellent job.
Yeah. I mean, that flashback was fantastic. I agree. I thought that was a really good scene. I thought Sebastian Stan did a really good job in that scene. And boy, the Dora Milaje, this is the best I've seen of Dora Milaje so far. And we saw a lot of them in Black Panther. But I mean, the action in this scene when they were just taking out John Walker and Lamar,
Battlestar.
Yeah, Battlestar, and I was like, boy. And when they took off, Bucky's arm.
Yeah,
when they took off Bucky's arm,
I almost feel like the Dora Milaje, and look, shout outs to Ryan Coogler and the team on Black Panther. They were incredible. Like, there's no shade when I say this, but I do feel like the Dora Milaje were, as far as their hand-to-hand combat and their action sequences, were really helped out by working with Carl Skullgang and working with the Falcon and Winter Soldier stunt team and their work. Like, this was incredible. Because Ryan just wasn't shooting stuff like that for Falcon and for Black Panther. We had the scene in Korea that was probably the closest we saw from this. And to be fair, Okoye had a great moment. But as far as the whole Dora Milaje as a group or the majority of them, like we saw them, obviously the big fight scene at the end, like we didn't see them getting down like this. It wasn't this close quarter, high intensity kind of shooting for these action scenes. We didn't get that from them. So I agree. I think that there was an extra sauce on what we saw from them, and I agree, they look fantastic. And it's just crazy to see them in this, they're in Lafayette, it's this very gray place, and then you see the Dora Milaje, full gear, red, spears, like they're clearly, not where they're supposed to be, and John's like, oh, you don't have jurisdiction here, and Io's like, we have jurisdiction wherever we pull up, which was a great line.
That's one of the best lines in this show so far. Oh 100%. My God. I heard that, I was like, yo, they pulled up. and then when they took off Bucky's arm, and Bucky's a super soldier. They were going toe to toe with Bucky.
Yeah, I think
Bucky's got serum.
At least half the people that watched had to have audibly had a reaction.
Oh my God. When they just ripped off Bucky's arm. I'm like, oh man.
Oh man, they're not messing around.
They're not messing around. They're here for this guy. They want Zemo no matter
was like,
what.
Did you know they could do that? He's like, no. He was not happy.
He's like, nope.
Yeah. And did he throw him a line that earlier where she was like, everything we gave you, we could take back or something like that? Like, I feel like she may have said that at some point. I don't know if it was last week
Yeah,
or
she
if it
may have
was
said
this
something
week,
like that.
but she
Oh,
meant
boy.
that literally.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, boy. And you saw how advanced that arm was. You saw it had the Wakandan like tech. It had the purple. You kind of had like some of the stuff from the vibranium. And
Yeah.
boy, they did a great job with the Dora Milaje in this episode.
Yeah, their inclusion in this episode was fantastic. And like, if you told me in a vacuum that Dora Milaje were gonna show up in this show in Europe, like if I didn't know any context, I'd be like, oh, okay, I gotta see how that looks. Like, I might not like I couldn't tell you immediately that would be dope. Like, I couldn't, because I would have to see how that would play out, how that would look, because it's kind of a crazy scenario, but they knocked it out of the park. I mean, again, I think that was probably the best fight scene we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And it involved our good friend John Walker, who had himself quite an episode here, and I guess before we get a little bit into him, we should kind of bring you to like why he ends up even showing up. So Zemo and the crew, knowing that Dora Milaje are hunting now, realize, okay, they got to kind of speed up their timeline for when they're going to find where this, funeral, or they didn't know a funeral was going to happen. Well, no, they did. But where there was going to be any funeral for the woman that was a mentor to Carly. And it's through their kind of non-stealth work, which I think was funny. My girlfriend was like, they're just walking around. They're not like trying to be covert about any of this. They're just asking people everywhere. Darlie, or whatever her name was, or Donna, or like, and
Donna.
yeah, and and of course, because of that, Walker and Hawkins come back and say, "Yo, man, yeah, we know you guys are here. Like, you're Avengers walking around the streets of Latvia. Like, it's not that hard."
Yep.
And the issues with Zemo being out and everything kind of really come to a head before we get to that scene. I guess, what did you guys make of kind of just Walker and his kind of obvious impeding into the operation here? I've always been a little bit surprised that like Bucky and Sam haven't been kind of more forceful and just being like, "Yo, get lost, fam." But I guess because he has like the U.S. government behind him and the GRC behind him, I guess they don't feel like they have the license to do that, because even though they don't necessarily take orders from him, they also can't kind of get rid of him, and that's what we see a lot in this episode. And their inability to get rid of him costs them greatly.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm thinking too. Bucky is not necessarily a fugitive, but they did bail him out when they needed him to, and Sam is, not an Avenger, but I guess he's supposed to be working for the military, but it's not clear exactly.
He's working with the government.
Yeah, he's working with
Air
the
Force,
government.
I think, right? I don't think I don't know if they distinguish which arm. I thought it was the Air Force, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, which, I mean, he doesn't work directly under Captain America. I don't know if there's any kind of outranking or anything with regards to how exactly that would work, but Captain America is, I believe, according to the government in this show, I think he's supposed to be leading this mission. In terms of like how the government is handling the situation with these flag smashers. So I think that's why this new Cap, John Walker, is like taking point, or trying to take point and take charge of anything revolving around this mission, including Sam and Bucky, trying to figure out what's going on, because he has, I guess, jurisdiction or whatever over.
Yeah, I mean, they give you the line where they're like, oh, clearly Sam is,
because it's
like,
supposed to be his op and all that stuff.
Sam, he's like, me and Bucky, we're free agents.
Yeah, that's what
you
he
guys
keeps
have
saying. Yeah,
things that you have to, all sorts of protocols or whatever.
Right.
You guys have to work around. So,
one of that protocol includes bludgeoning somebody with a shield. I find that hard to believe.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. And we'll get to that, but that'll be interesting to see how they handle that next week.
It's gonna be really interesting.
I thought John Walker. I said to Shamari when we were watching it that I was more surprised. I was surprised that Sam wasn't more upset when John Walker comes in there and breaks up the thing with Carly Morgenthau, and it was like Like, how did that, like, you know, how did that mess up? Like, I was just getting to her, and then this guy comes in at the last minute. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like you said, it kind of goes to maybe there's a thing where it's just, you know, no reason to ruffle any feathers for no reason. But yeah.
Yeah, because Bucky even comes in. He's pissed. He's like, this guy Walker is on something, on one, and Sam's like,
he says he's crazy. I know, crazy.
But it's almost like he says it in almost a helpless way. It's like, yeah, we know he's nuts, but I mean, what are we can't do anything about it. He has a shield. He has the government and the GRC behind him. So like, we can complain about it. It sucks that Carly got away, but it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, you can't fight Captain America. Like that's their
right.
thing. Like, you know, in the eyes of the world, Captain America is the hero. So
Yeah.
you know, as much as they don't like him, they have to work with him on some level or work around him if they best can. But they, like you said, they keep tracking him down. You know, I thought we got more of we continue to get drips and drips of John Walker's like thought process, you know, and they try to do the thing where they give you some of his like quote unquote humanity,
Right.
You know, or his normalcy before like, but then he also
his heroism,
right?
Been in Afghanistan,
right? That kind of stuff, and try to humanize him a little bit, but you know, then they rip it apart, you know. And that's continued to be the push pull of this character.
Do you think he's gonna survive this show?
100%.
Wow, 100%. I wouldn't say 100%.
I wouldn't say 100%.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, here's the thing. So let's get into Walker a little bit before we get to like not get to the end, but just some of the stuff that happens. What becomes super clear, and we kind of knew it already, but what's really clear in this episode is he's a terrible Captain America. Like, I don't mean terrible in terms of like being a good guy. I mean just like doing the job. He's awful. Like it
was confirmed like he's not a super soldier.
Yeah, so we got confirmed if there was any question. Yeah.
Good with the shield, but like, you know, he's not super strong. Like, he's clearly not a super soldier, and they spell it out in this episode.
Yeah, so he's not a super soldier.
And that doesn't help.
Yeah, which is not going to help. And you see there's great insecurity in him because of that. And when he has that conversation with Hoskins in like the mall, where they're kind of just you know shooting the ish, and you know they're going over thing about the super soldier serum and you hear that you know he feels like you know that he's lesser than without it, you know, and that like this whole thing of him being Captain America feels like he's doing something right for the first time in his life, maybe because he looks back on his service where he's maybe this decorated soldier, but you know, like most people who fought in Iraq or Afghanistan where he fought, you may have crossed some lines and done some things that maybe weren't so morally black or white. And he struggles with that, and not having the serum while he's doing this job that he clearly really loves and enjoys. It's something that bothers him. It bothers him when he got his behind handed to him by the Dora Milaje, when he's like, I couldn't even beat these people. They weren't super soldiers. Which gets to my point about him being a bad Captain America. Now, of course, Dora Milaje are a beast. We all know that. So, but he doesn't know it in his head. But still, like he couldn't handle Dora Milaje. He blows the cover with Carly where Sam was talking her down, and then when she gets loose, like she gets away, like he was unable to contain her. He gets his partner killed. I mean he doesn't make any. It was really funny because like during the conversation with Lamar's like, look man, like you know you have great decision making. You always make the right calls in battle. I was like, what is Lamar talking about? Was he not there 2 minutes ago when he just busted in while Sam was actually talking Carly down off the ledge and then blew a whole mission? And he's talking about like you have great decision making. It's like part of me
Lamar should be Kevin Durant's agent.
Because part of me looks at him and I'm like, in a way, I don't know. I'd be curious if we asked the showrunners and the writers about this, but I almost feel like it is kind of it was sad by the way Lamar died, but I almost feel like it's kind of poetic because when you put that much belief in someone who clearly ain't ready for prime time, usually gets people killed, and to me like it was almost like the inevitable arc for Lamar that he would have to get killed if he really believes this much into John Walker and his decision making. Like you know, Hoskins seems like a good man or a decent man at least, but terrible judge of character when it comes to this person.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they did a good job with the Battlestar, handling the Battlestar death.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wasn't hoping for it, but you know how these TV shows go sometimes. But we'll leave that to to your interpretation. But regardless, when it came to Battlestar, I mean, I agree that they really set him up as kind of the moral center or the moral compass to that team, to that tandem, and there were times where Walker was trying to go over the edge, and he would walk him off the ledge a little bit.
Yeah, he didn't want to play ball with Sam trying to talk to Carly, and it was Hoskins who was like, "Yo, if he can do it, we need to see if it'll work." Because as Sam pointed out, like if we go in there hot and heavy, like more people may die if I go in alone, even if it goes bad. Okay, Carly kills me. It's only one person.
Right,
and it was Hoskins having that wherewithal to tell him that, I think, showed.
Yeah, and then it goes back to what they supposedly went through in Afghanistan, and it's like, I mean, do you want to go through that again? Like, you can get the job done, but at what cost? So, Hoskins, and then you saw the first chance, when Hoskins is gone, he does what he does at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And I also thought it was interesting how like they framed that fight, how it's Bucky, it's John Walker post Super Soldier Serum, and then it's Falcon against the Flag Smashers, and they kind of going toe to toe. Hoskins was captured. He was captured. Yeah. He walks into the fight, but at that point, that fight was like that was way above his weight class.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the Flag Smashers and Carly, like, she was fighting, and the rest of them were fighting as if they were fighting two super soldiers and an Avenger.
Yeah, it was
Hoskins comes
going
in,
down.
Punch, she takes him out. Like, like that's what happens. And I mean, I thought they kind of illustrated that well. That like, Hoskins, like, he wasn't gonna be that was above his weight class, and he didn't even know because he didn't know that Captain America took the super soldier serum, so he didn't tell him. So I mean that was interesting. How that played out.
Yeah, I mean that scene when he died, I was like, oh boy. You just saw, you're just like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Fly out the deep end. Who Lord knows what this guy's gonna do. And he went running after the first Flag Smasher he could catch, and we saw what happened.
Yeah,
we saw the result. Everybody saw the result. We're gonna see next week what the effects of that are.
Yeah,
and to me, what I thought was interesting as well was, I thought they used Hoskins and that Flag Smasher guy. He did have a name, and apology, I don't remember it, but they were kind of the same person in this episode, and like their belief in false prophets got them both killed. Like I thought that guy got a lot of character development that maybe I should have foresaw that maybe something was going to happen to him. He talked about his upbringing. His grandfather fought against the Nazis, so it makes you kind of understand why maybe he beat behind this, and his love for Captain America growing up as a kid, and how in his eyes, he sees Carly as someone who embodies Captain America in today's world, which was I thought a pretty interesting. I thought that was very interesting dialogue those two had, and Carly saying that that symbol is a symbol of a bygone world that forgot a lot of people. When you think about America and just who they propped up and who they supported and who they protected, it was not all Americans, which was, of course, we all know the history. So that was really good dialogue. Again, I thought that the Flag Smashers and Carly had their best episode, and it was badly needed because I complained a lot of last week about their development. But him having that trust in her put him in that dangerous line of duty where you're fighting against a guy who's off the rails, and her killing Hoskins led to him being killed, even though he told him, like, I didn't do it, I didn't kill anybody, I didn't do anything. And Hoskins on the flip side, same thing. He's following Walker. He's telling him, hey, you're a good man. Hey, you got great credentials, and you've done great work, and that and you're a great dude, basically. And his belief in him got him killed because he was in a fight that he shouldn't have been in. Like Walker, in his selfish kind of head, just wanting to live up to being Captain America, got in the fray of that crazy fight, not thinking about where his partner was or how his partner, if he could tango in this kind of ordeal, when it was very clear he couldn't.
Yeah, we got to talk about, obviously, unhinged Captain America at the end. I mean, what do we think is going to be the fallout?
There's so much that comes out of that. So we see Captain America, bludgeoning a man to death, who,
Star-Spangled Man.
The Star-Spangled Man, incapacitated. He's incapacitated, which you look nowadays. We see a lot of that, unfortunately, sad as it is.
And he's not he's not even like, he's not wearing a Flag Smasher mask even.
He's not wearing a Flag Smasher mask.
To those folks, he just looks like a guy that's getting bludgeoned by Captain America.
And so it's very humanizing, right? So he's not a menacing, evil supervillain. He's just a guy running away, which he was running away at that point. Yeah. And he just kills him. Doesn't capture him, doesn't take him prisoner, doesn't ask him questions, doesn't say stop resisting or anything like that. He just kills him.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it really is, it was just murder. It was just murder on video for the world to see. So this is definitely gonna have a lot of fallout. Possibly not even just for this show. I mean, this could stretch into other things as well.
Yeah, because now you think about it, and it's like the Captain America name has been tainted,
soiled.
It's been soiled. So like,
especially international.
Now it's exactly right. Now it sets the world where, look, I mean, we don't expect John Walker to be Captain America. He may not be Captain America after the next episode or after this episode.
Yeah, I mean, but he may not even be alive after this series. I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah, Shamari is putting it out. But we assume that at some point he'll take up the U.S. agent, mantle, whether it be in the show or post this show, or he's not gonna be Captain America forever. And Sam's gonna be Captain America, but we don't know that. But we assume he's gonna be Captain America. And if he is Captain America, then now he's gonna have to work with that kind of baggage that was left by John Walker in that video, and so that's something that'll be there. But I expect we may get scenes with Walker and his wife, and because she was introduced in the first episode, and then we or the second episode, first episode that he was introduced, and we haven't seen her since. But now that Hoskins is out of the picture, we may get a scene where he's reconciling with what he did and trying to come back down to earth a little bit, he may go full nuke, in Jessica Jones, and that's very possible as well. But there's going to be a lot of fallout, I think, from what we saw, obviously in that last shot.
Yeah, I think that I agree with you guys. I think that this fallout is going to be massive, and it may spawn beyond this show, in terms of what that scene means. Because as you mentioned, he not only, committed this murder in front of the whole world to see, and as the episode is, aptly titled, "The World is Watching," it's a perfect title for this episode. He did it on international soil, and the GRC is kind of this kind of shadowy, American led, but I guess multiple country coalition where they kind of just go around the world and kind of put the world back together as it was, as best as they can. And he's leading this we know it's a very public movement. Obviously we know it's a public movement because John Walker's face is everywhere. He's signing autographs and that aspect. Remember, there's just commercials of the GRC in Europe and stuff. We've seen the GRC everywhere. So think about that kind of very PR military branch, or whatever you want to call them, international branch, and the face is murdering people with an American flag on his shield, and he's wearing the red, white, and blue in Latvia. That's just you want to talk about international crisis. It doesn't get worse for that kind of governing body. So yeah, this is going to be huge. What's going to happen?
How do we think the transition assuming he transitions into U.S. agent. How do we think that goes down? Do we think that he's going to willingly give up the Captain America mantle because of what happened? And he's going to say, I can't do this as Captain America. It's too much.
I think he's gonna. I think it'd be more likely he'll get fired. Like I think that I don't like that's not gonna fly. Like I don't think it's gonna be
government
a thing.
Might step in.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a thing where we're gonna see next week they're trying to sweep this under the rug. Like I don't see that happening. I see him having the answer for this terrible video and him trying to explain himself and then being like, "No, you're done. It's over." And I don't know. Maybe he doesn't give up the shield. Maybe he fights the guys out of the building and he runs away and now he's a fugitive. But he still has the Captain America shield. And now maybe part of this battle isn't also just fighting the Flag Smashers. Maybe it's now they're telling Bucky and Sam, "Hey, I know we kind of messed with you guys, giving them the shield, but now we kind of need you guys to get it back." Like I think that very well could end up being where this story goes, where he gets fired, but he doesn't necessarily relinquish the shield. And now you have a lunatic super soldier with Captain America's shield running around thinking that he's a hero. It's couldn't paint a worse picture for the GRC.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think it could go that way. I don't know why I picture him going full nuke, as Kendall said, where he's just I'm Cap now. What I say goes. I could easily see him doing the whole he was a terrorist angle, and just he was a flag smasher. He had a mask in his pocket or whatever. I could see him doing something like that, and then just it is what it is. He just killed my friend or whatever. He could just say something. He was dangerous.
Right.
He was a dangerous on the loose. I was protecting civilians. Something he can make something up, and it'll just. It was awful what he did, obviously, but I feel like they're gonna go that angle of
there was a level of gray area.
It was a gray area. He was dangerous. He was souped up on super soldier serum. Yeah. And he was a danger to everyone around him or something like that. And I feel like they're gonna try something like that.
Yeah, I was just quickly gonna say I also think that this also may really help Carly's cause too. I think that what's gonna happen is you're gonna see people watching. Again, the face of the GRC, who's supposed to be Captain America, bludgeoning somebody to death. People are going to be like, this is supposed to be the guy supposed to protect us and save us. We are a suspect about the GRC to begin with.
And speaking of her reach, I mean, she already has people watching Sam's family.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I thought that was a little.
Did you guys assume they were watching, or I assumed she did her research? That's me. I assumed. She was like,
"Oh, you say that she was like on a pier or something like that."
Yeah,
and
she knew about the dock.
I was like, she knew she. Well, did she know she was on the dock at that moment.
So I will shoot the show bail here. When I watched it, and I watched this episode twice this week, I took it as, Sam said he had a sister when they were talking. After that whole thing went down, she's like, "I gotta find some research. Who is this person? Who does he know?" And the Wilsons, as we know, like they're not like anonymous people. They run a small business in New Orleans that people know about. So it ain't that hard to be like, okay, his sister, who's his sister? Oh, his sister is Sam. They have 2 kids. Oh, they own this fish business and this seafood business. Like, I just didn't think it was that big a leap, in my opinion. I can see some people thinking not, but I thought, I could find out that you own a seafood business and you have 2 kids in their names. I don't think that was crazy. I didn't think it was a thing where she had people watching them. That's not what I thought was happening. I definitely don't think that's what they was.
It's like, what if you're wrong? What if you're like not like wrong about the information, but what if you're wrong about like the line about you guys like doing this at the docks? It's like I've never taken those.
But like you guys remember though, it's a Gulf Coast Cajun New Orleans business.
Right.
Like
yeah, I mean maybe she made the leap.
Yeah, like you couldn't make that kind of bold statement in like New York City because just like there's water, but then there's like a lot of other places people are like if you're a seafood business and you had a boat that it's some of the things like I'm pretty sure you work on a dock and it was probably you could probably go on a Yelp a Yelp review and just find where is the seafood weekend spot the Wilson spot, and you see,
that was the thing. It was like, was it research or what? Did she have eyes and ears?
Yeah,
you know, that's what.
That's the thing where it seems.
But I think Sam doesn't know, and I think he's scared. But I think she's good. Like I think she's good. Like I think she got what she wanted. She got Sam scared. She scared her, and she let them know that she meant business. I don't think it was like she actually did like know this information because she had people on the ground that were talking to her. I don't think. I thought it was, okay, I just got shot. Sam betrayed me. What do I have on him that I could use? And he volunteered that information that he had a sister. Once you volunteer that information, you could find anybody on the internet now. That's not crazy. Like you could find who people are, where they live, what they do. Like that's not like something that's so like outside the realm of possibility for someone, especially 5 years beyond where we are in 2020. Like that's 100% possible. So that's how I took it. I can see people feeling like maybe it was like a leap too far, but I was fine with it. I watched it twice, and I thought about it, but I was like, yeah, no, I think she just looked it up, and it probably wasn't that hard.
Yeah, I mean,
she got her number too out of nowhere, which I know there's ways people
you can find people's numbers.
I mean, there seemed to be potentially some kind of hacking involved, some kind of cyber.
Which I would imagine.
And remember, in episode 1 or 2, like when they were housed in that place. I mean, it seemed like clearly there were people on computers and stuff. Like they clearly got hackers on the squad.
Yeah. I imagine they have
they got some hacktivism going on.
They have an arm of the Flag Smashers. And now look, that was a dark turn for her character. A second dark turn for her character. I'm still, I'm a little bit like where you were EJ last week, where I'm still not convinced, or at least they still haven't convinced me why they're following her. They're telling me, but they're not showing me why. So that's still where I'm at with her and the rest of the Flag Smashers.
Another emphasis.
A little bit, but right now I don't want to say I'm hoping, because I just want to see. Hopefully it's good. But I'm right now. I would prefer the Power Broker to be the big bad as opposed to her.
I'm thinking it's gonna be Power Broker and Zemo.
Yeah, because Zemo. We should talk about Zemo because
I think Zemo's gonna end up killing something.
Yeah, because Zemo first of all, Zemo during that chaotic scene where Carly escaped from Sam the first time. He finds Carly after slipping out of the handcuffs and starts smashing all those vials of the super soldier serum before he's knocked out by Walker, which once again, bad Captain America. It's like, and I know maybe he had an ulterior motive, like he actually wanted to maybe make sure he didn't get all of them, but like Carly's there, like this is your opportunity to take her in, and you're smashing Zemo, who like. Yeah, he's a fugitive, but just like he's not target. Like it's him.
Yeah, he's not doing it.
Yeah, he's useless and like he's just a terrible, terrible operative. But we see Zemo doing what we expected him to do. He was very true to character. Like I'm sure there was part of me that thought like, oh, maybe he will like keep this and like say all the stuff he's been saying. Even though again, I thought he had some great dialogue too, talking about why he feels. Someone who takes a super soldier serum or someone who's a superhero is a supremacist. Like I thought that was really deep. It's the psychology of this man. They've done really great work with obviously since Civil War, but it's continued in this series, and that's why some people aren't crazy about him. I think he's a great villain, and he was great in this episode. But he escapes. After he's taken back by Bucky and Sam, I think he gets knocked out by Walker, he escapes when the Dora Milaje show up.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I wonder, like, for the future of Zemo, like, we always think of Zemo as like, the leader or one of the leaders of the Masters of Evil. Like, is that like, can they do that with this guy? I mean, I can't imagine him leading a group called the Masters of Evil. Like, it just seems a little too mustache twirly for him.
Well, yeah.
Like, are they going maybe with like a Thunderbolts like route where he's leading more of a Suicide Squad type of, or part of a Suicide Squad type of thing, where he's like a more reformed villain role, or are they Or is there going to be a turn or a twist where we're like, oh yeah, you thought I was this, but
I mean, I thought the twist, if it was gonna happen, it was gonna be when he picked up that vial of the super soldier serum, and instead of destroying it, which you would think his character would do, he would have taken it himself or picked him up and ran away, and now he's gonna get my own.
We know he's. I mean, we're a little more comfortable this week, saying that he's not the power broker. There were some people out there that thought Zemo was the power broker. Didn't really make sense, but none of these theories really make sense. So you got to roll with it. But I would like Sharon Carter continues to say that the power broker is upset that that they killed Nagel, and he texted Carly like, "Where's my serum?" after the serum was already destroyed. So like. This doesn't seem consistent, unless he's just playing a really long fuse for no reason.
I mean, where do you guys stand on Sharon somehow having some involvement with the power broker or being the power broker? Because even that call exchange he had with Sam, when Sam's like, "Yeah, it all went to hell," he was like, "Just make sure you bring back Harley. Like, just get Carly. Like we know that the power broker is hell bent on Carly being crossed off the board. Like." I did take note of Sharon's emphasis of they got to get Carly off the streets right now.
And she was walking through a bunch of goons with assault rifles, and they were just not batting an eye.
Not trying to. Yeah.
So, I mean, that was kind of sus.
Yeah. I hope it's not Sharon Carter.
I don't want it to be Sharon Carter.
That would be kind of lame. But
I agree.
Not lame and it's only lame because they built it up as something that could be big.
I mean, I think that's kind of lame.
In the context of if you want to do something where it's twist, if this was a CW show, I'd be all right, fine twist.
Right.
But we're talking about Doom or
right. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Arnim Zola, Red Skull, the Norman Osborn, and it ends up being.
And remember, this is someone who is the niece of Peggy Carter, and has had
it's such
ties with Steve Rogers. Like I don't want that person.
Fury. Yeah.
I don't want that person being some mustache twirly villain.
Even
forget about the canon. I know obviously
the soldier drug dealer.
Yeah, I mean I know the canon. Sharon never does anything like that, but I'm not even worried about the canon. Even if there was canon where she somehow is a villain, I wouldn't want this to go down like that. With the way they've introduced her in this season, in this universe.
Now, is she working for the power broker?
Possibly.
That I'm not as upset about.
Maybe even probably.
I could live with that because you could be working under duress. You could be a double agent. There's a lot of things that could be going on.
Right. You're just trying to survive.
Or
that kind of thing.
Contracted. Kind of thing where she's kind of gun for hire,
right? Deathstroke kind of thing.
Maybe the power broker, found her, got her protection because she talked about how the government, wants her arrested, and she's not cleared of any of their charges. She's been on the run all these years. I mean, we know she could handle her own, but it wouldn't hurt to have some help to handle yourself in a place like Madripoor. And power broker seems to be the kind of person that you would want to have in your corner.
So where are we right now with? Well, do we think the power broker is going to be anybody important, or anybody?
What do you mean when you say important?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Well, first of all, do we think it's going to be anybody that we've seen in this show, or somebody that we?
I think it's unlikely.
No,
I think the only person I think it could be on this show is Sharon. I think Sharon is not impossible, but I would consider it unlikely. I would say, you told me what's the chances of Sharon? I'd say 20%. It's not impossible, but I would wow, really they went that route. So
I feel
and I don't. We haven't seen Ross. We haven't seen. Obviously we haven't seen any Doom or anyway like that. We haven't seen Armin Zola. We haven't seen a Red Skull. So those people to me are way more likely than Zemo, who I think we get cross off after this week, and Sharon Carter, and I don't think we know it's not Walker, I think that also was kind of established this week too.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that I think that it's gonna be somebody that we haven't seen, I think it's gonna be a new character. I don't know who it is, but that's my.
You think it's a new character we've not seen in the MCU?
Yeah.
I'm leaning
somebody that's gonna survive the show, but that will be back at some point.
I'm leaning towards that too. I mean, I don't. Red Skull's dead. You know, he's been long dead. His soul is out in whatever that planet was. Vormir. So, you know, it's not gonna be him. You know, Armin. I wouldn't like it if it were Armin Zola. Some people. I mean, I guess some people would. I wouldn't like it if it was Armin Zola. So, you know, I think it's very likely that it's somebody new. And you know, Ross. I mean, Ross is an a-hole. He's kind of a kind of a shady military guy
right.
a lot of the time. But you know, for him to just threaten this girl,
he's been threatening her multiple.
I mean, she's been getting threatened, death threats from the power broker.
Yeah, it's not like yo, like you know, hand it over or we'll arrest you. It's like yo, I'm putting you in the ground.
It's like I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, you're gonna be 6 feet under if I ever see you. It's on sight if I see you.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I'm kind of like, I don't think this is Ross.
Yeah, and Ross, I never took Ross as like underground mob boss.
Yeah, you know, like I'm trafficking super soldier serum. Like,
well, I always thought if it was Ross, I always thought of it as it would be him, like playing a character. Like it would be him,
right.
like I'm kind of him being like I'm undercover, and yeah, he's like a mob boss, but like he's not actually he's Ross. Like we know he's not a mob boss.
Right.
I always envision that if he's a power broker, that's who he is, and somehow like he's doing this long game mission, and we don't know what it's about, but that is what he would be doing. You know, now, I mean, wasn't he the Secretary of State? That might be a little bit of a stretch.
But
he wears the disguise. I mean, you know, who knows? Like, it's not crazy. But that I always envisioned that if it somehow was him, that's how that would come about.
Somebody, if he's based in Madripoor, like, is it gonna be an X-Men character? Like,
I'm not going down.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not even.
Shamari's like, I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole.
Is it?
I think Norman Osborn
is the Brotherhood
is somebody that would also be a really good possibility, especially if they were doing some sort of Dark Avengers thing where you had John Walker being like Captain America, and then you had Norman Osborn playing a factor in it as well. That would be a good way to tie it.
I feel like we have definitely gotten some rumors and reporting that like Dark Avengers has been on the radar.
Yeah,
it's not a lot. It's not nearly as much as we gotten about Thunderbolts, but I've heard it because we've heard that they've had Norman Osborn on their board, and just how they're going to use him is what we don't know yet.
And look, let's.
I'd be shocked if the first time we saw Norman Osborn
was not in
anything.
Not a Spider-Man property, right?
Yeah. I don't know if Sony's cool with that.
Yeah, that's why I'd be like, what?
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking from a marketing standpoint, I think no one's talked about this, but I think the Dark Avengers makes more sense than the Thunderbolts, personally. But you know, even if they have the same energy, even if they they can be the same team, but just naming them.
I mean, I could see how that could work, but Walker's kind of involvement kind of complicates things of what he did this week. But I could see something where you have a GRC sanctioned Avengers team that's led by Norman Osborn, but like he has the GRC, kind of by the neck, and he kind of do whatever he wants, which is like kind of what happened in the comic books. Like basically, he's running Hammer, and Hammer is like now like Shield basically. Right. So like I could see it. I could definitely see it.
Will it tie into Armor Wars and all? That's something
maybe, that will. Yeah. Another one.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm leaning towards that this power broker can be somebody completely original, and that I think it'll be somebody fairly major. I don't think it's gonna be Doom. I really don't think it's gonna be Osborn. I feel it's probably gonna be a tier below that. If those are tier A villains, it's probably gonna be a tier B. Somebody we'll recognize, but not somebody that we're gonna lose our minds over.
Interesting. I'm really ready for next week already. I know it's we just did this episode.
Supposed to be an emotional episode, according to Malcolm Spellman.
Yeah.
And
I think we may see Cap. I think we may see Chris Evans.
Where is Cap?
We still don't know.
You kind of can't ignore it at this point.
Yeah, we still don't know where he is, what his status is. We don't think he's dead. They don't talk about him as if he's dead, so we don't know what his situation is. But yeah, and I think at a certain point you would think that Sam may just want to talk to him, just be like, "Yo, man, this is getting out of control. Like, what do I do? Like, this isn't going well." So yeah, I definitely think that Steve Rogers' appearance is possible. We definitely gotta know what his deal is soon. So if it's not this episode, then definitely last episode we will see. I think Chris Evans at some point. I think we're at the point though. If we had nothing else, I think we can give our episode scores for this week. So I guess I'll let Sham go first. Sham, what are you giving episode 4? The World Is Watching.
I give this an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a solid episode. A lot of action, a lot of build up. And a lot of exposition, and a lot of character interactions. Zemo had a lot of good lines. Sam had a lot of good lines, good moments. And Falcon had a lot of good moments. So yeah, I mean, I thought this was cool. And at this point, I'm just ready. I'm strapped in, buckled up, ready for the next episode, ready to see what the showrunner has in store for us next.
Yeah, the last episode is also the week of my birthday, so I'm really excited about that. I mean, that's like what a way to end the week. What about you, Kendall?
I'll go 7.5.
Really?
I thought this was a good episode. I'm still. Look, I don't give 50s for between the legs dunks, man. I need you to jump over like an 8-footer or something like that before I'm giving you a 50 on a dunk. But yeah, no, I thought this was a good episode. I thought we got really more of that John Walker Captain America kind of turning into the U.S. agent character that we're expecting him to turn into. And I thought the dialogue and the sequences with all of the characters really worked, and the action was excellent as well. So yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. But I have high expectations for this show, so I think I'm expecting it to go up quite a bit next week.
I'm surprised by that. I'm gonna give this a 9. I think this was the best episode. I really enjoyed it. It moved the characters forward that I needed to be moved forward. I needed the Flag Smashers and Carly to move forward. I thought that, I know Kendall had a point about not sure if you could really see why the Flag Smashers believe in her. I thought that scene in the funeral went a long way. I thought that the dialogue she had with the individual Flag Smashers this week was just way more impactful than the dialogue. I thought last week's dialogue was just nonsense. I thought it was a waste of time. Like this week's dialogue, I thought actually meant something, actually mattered. We actually saw a little bit of why they follow her, what her philosophy is. I thought it went a really long way. So I thought that this was Carly's best episode, and then big time action. Dora Milaje edition was fantastic. The deaths were brutal and meaningful. Like I mean, this was a really good episode. I don't have that really any like flaws with it. Like I can't really think of anything that I really wasn't pleased with. Again, I thought Zemo, or especially early in the episode, I thought he was fantastic, and he was great really throughout. So can't complain with much here. Still excited for where the show is going to go. I can't believe we only got 2 more left, but I'm excited to see how it ends up. Hoping we get a mid-credit scene or a post-credit scene soon. We didn't get one this week either. I think we probably will get one next week. But yeah, no, I love this episode, so I'll give it a 9. Well, I think that's going to do it for this edition of our Falcon and Winter Soldier episode review and recap discussion. Of course, make sure if you like this video, make sure you give us a like and leave a comment in the comment section with what you thought about this episode. What do you rate it? Do you rate it a 10, a 9, an 8, a 7? Make sure you leave a comment. Give us your thoughts on what's going on, who you think the power broker is, what's going to happen next with John Walker. Leave a comment. And also, of course, if you're enjoying these videos, Make sure you subscribe to our channel, New Generation Media. We got 2 more left, and they will be coming out in the next 2 weeks. So keep it locked in here. That'll do it for now. For Kendall, for Shamari, I'm EJ. Take it easy, guys. Peace.